Hello everyone, it's Brad with DividendReaper.com coming at you again with another installment on our weekly Wednesday installments. And today I want to talk about something that I feel we all have an issue with, and that is trying to get a raise at work. Whether it's a huge hurdle to jump or a minor hurdle to jump, it seems like some years we're really just itching and scratching at the walls trying to figure out how do we bring in more income beyond just our regular passive income streams that we may be putting together with our dividend portfolios. But when you really break down the numbers, there's a pretty simple answer to the larger question of how do I make more money? But before I do that, I want to go into just a little something. Ask yourself, how much is a little bit more money to you? Is it trying to make 5% more this year? Is it 10% more this year? Maybe you're like me and you really want to, go straight up a wall and go 20% and get a huge raise that's actually incredibly impactful. Whatever that is, it's actually really simple math as long as you have one thing in common. And the one thing in common that you must have to do this is you need to have the ability to work overtime. Now I know it's crazy. You people are going to try and turn off the video right now saying, Brad, well of course, if I work overtime, of course I'm going to make more money, but that's not like getting a raise. But hold the phone for just a second. What is a raise? A raise is literally just you bringing in more money for your work. Now, if your employer isn't going to give it to you, and they're not doling them out to other employees on the floor. For instance, in my job, it's a pretty fixed one. Pretty much everybody on the floor that I work with makes virtually the same amount of money unless you got promoted and then demoted and you're now in a pay cap. But basically, they're the outliers. But unless you're in that subset, you really pretty much make the same amount of money as everybody around you. And it's near impossible, or actually it is pretty much impossible in my job, to actually get a raise other than just the normal small raises that they give every year at most businesses, the 2 to 3%, which basically just keeps up with inflation. But if you break the actual monetary value down and you try to just think of it in percentages, it's really easy to make a 10% bigger cut at the end of the year if you just think about, well, let's take, for instance, someone that's got $50,000 that they make per year, which I think is close to the average income, but 50 is just an easy number. But 50 grand is what you're making for the year. You are pestering your boss. You've tried everything. You can't get yourself a raise, but you still need to bring in more money. Well, the easiest way that you can get 10% is literally just to put in a little bit of overtime. And when I say a little bit of overtime, I mean a really small amount of overtime equates to a pretty huge gain over time. And that's through the power of compounding, but we're not going to get into that with this video. But if you just think about our example with the 50,000, if, for instance, I want to go ahead and get 10% more on that 50,000, I make $50,000 a year, and I work the normal 20-hour or the 40-hour work week. When you really break it down, if you're working 40 hours, then realistically 10% of that just means all you have to do is just work 4 more hours. And if you do that, you've realistically given yourself a 10% raise. And when you adjust it for the overtime rate, even more than that, and you can actually work less than the 4 hours to actually make your 10%. So it's pretty easy math as far as things are concerned, but when you think about it over the long haul, if you just add 10%, if you've got the 50,000 that you're making yearly, you just made an extra 5 grand, which after taxes, yes, is a little bit different, but realistically it's 5 grand that you're making more per year with the 10% bump. And that's not a whole lot of overtime to really get yourself used to doing, because realistically you could split that up over how many days you want. If I feel like staying 2 hours for the first day and knocking out half the what I need for the week, sure, I'll just do it that. I think I just did it today, actually. But when you think about it, it's the easiest raise that you're ever going to get, because you already know how to do your job, so why not just do a little bit more of it to make a pretty huge impact later? Because that 5 extra grand invested over time is huge. Compounded over time. It's astronomical when you think about adding 5 grand per year to your annual income, especially if you just use that as straight investment income and you tell yourself that you're not going to spend the extra income but just only invest it. It's going to really, really add up over time, and the power of that effect is just going to be huge for your portfolio. And if it's huge for your portfolio, it's going to be huge for your mental game. And as far as your mental game goes, everything helps. Every small little bite, scratch, clawing your way towards the finish line faster is going to be astronomically compounding in your favor, because any small thing that gets you past that early hump before compounding interest really just takes over and the train rolls through the station without you ever needing to try anything, anything you can do to help yourself out with that start before the snowball really gets rolling is going to be to your benefit. So, recapping this video, easiest way to give yourself a raise: work a little bit of overtime, try to hit that 10%. So if you work 40 hours a week, do 4 hours of overtime. However you want to split it down, come in 30 minutes early in the morning and leave 30 minutes late at the afternoon. That's super easy to do. And do that Monday through Thursday, and then take Friday without any overtime. So go off and have fun on a Friday. Go frisbee golfing. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care, not the police of you, but you can actually make a little bit more money by doing this, reinvest the gains that you get off of that, and really end up making a huge score at the end of the year when you look at your tax return and you look at how much more money you made this year as opposed to last year. But with that being said, that's my take on it. Maybe what's easy for me isn't easy for you. Tell me if you think of anything else that you think is another great way to give yourself an easy raise. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, give me your feedback. I always like to hear it. I get emails all the time from people at dividendreaper@gmail.com. Visit at the website, dividendreaper.com, and of course, just comment on the YouTube videos as you feel necessary, and maybe even visit the Twitter at Dividend Monster, or Dividend Monster, the old way long website, at Dividend Reaper. But that's it for me today. Anything else? Reach out to me. But until next time, see you later.